Okay, real quick, before we get into this episode with Ana Ogbueze, I do want to say that Anna, is going to be a guest at Janelle and I's Full Out Pro Dance Intensive on June 7th. That's right, it's Saturday, June 7th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. She is going to come in. She's going to offer some tips and really good words of advice. And it was just announced that she's going to be one of the choreographers at the Honeybees audition. So whether or not you're auditioning for the Honeybees or not, I definitely think she's a great resource to have in your back pocket. And she can tell you a lot about just her pro dance experience. She can tell you a lot about what you need to do to prepare, how her experience is, what she's gone through. She's been a lady cat when they were the Bobcats. She was a dancer for the Lady Cats, and in this interview, she'll tell you a little bit about that. And she says that she was also a choreographer as a lady cat, and she was kind of like an assistant choreographer. And so she's had so much experience in the pro cheer space. And as you know, she owns NC Dance District and is doing so many good things in the Charlotte dance community and beyond. So definitely want you to know that she's going to be at our Pro Dance Intensive. And just to talk a little bit about our Pro Dance Intensive, it is going to be a really fun time where you're going to get to do a deep stretch, warm up. We're going across the floor. We are going to learn a dance combo. It's the pro style combo. And you'll also be in an environment that will treat as like a mock audition. So you'll be able to get into that environment, get into that zone to get you ready and get feedback, especially on your performance, on any on-stage questions or things that go into a dance audition. And so you'll be able to have Janelle and I and Anna there to ask any questions, to bounce ideas off of, to see anything that you are creating or preparing for your audition. I do know Honeybees auditions are in June, so definitely be prepared and come with questions on that if you are one of those people who are auditioning. We're also giving away some really cool things, and I think that you just don't want to miss this one. So with that being said, I will put the link in the description below, and I want you to, of course, sign up. And if your times are tough, and I know times are tough, we live in America and the economy is always going up and down and whatever. So I'm not trying to get like too deep into your pockets, but understand, because I'm feeling it too. So if you want to split the cost with a friend that you know this would benefit and it's going to benefit both of you, then that's available to you. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 where you can get a ticket and you just split the total cost with your friend, and y'all both can come for half the price. So definitely do that. Find somebody. If you want to know anybody that may be going, then reach out to me. And yeah, spots are limited, so make sure that you go in and you register. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait. And with that being said, let's get into this episode with Ana Ogbueze. She, like I said, is a former NBA dancer, and she's now a dance entrepreneur. She danced for 4 consecutive seasons with the Charlotte Hornets, and formerly known as the Charlotte Bobcats. From 2004 to 2008, she was a sideline captain and a contributing choreographer. She's worked with choreographers such as Don Draco Johnson. She's also filmed and toured around the world with celebrity fitness trainer Shaun T. And she's landed commercial spots with major brands such as Coca-Cola and Fila, and most recently joined the staff of Choreography Pros. And so that's a dance convention for NFL, NBA, semi-pro, and college dance teams. I believe it's held in Vegas each year. She's really known in the Charlotte dance community for being the owner of NC Dance District. And I'm sure many of you that are listening that are living in the Charlotte area have been to NC Dance District and have taken maybe her classes, maybe taken a class of mine, maybe taken a class of a Pro Cheer alumna, or any classes really. They have so many classes and available classes for dancers there. And she's the creator of the Project Full Out, which is a performance. And I've been to Project Full Out. We're going to get into all of that and more into this episode. And she is just an amazing human. She has talents that you may not even know about. We get into that at the end of the episode. She guesses my zodiac sign and she gets it right, basically. And it's crazy. But we get into all of that, how she came up and didn't have the traditional dance background. She just had a dream and a prayer. And she talks about her faith a lot and just how she embodies being a choreographer and a teacher, and how those are maybe different and how they're nuanced. How she showed up to a audition and just like some Sophie shorts and a sports bra. It's a really good episode, and I think that you're going to get a lot from it. And without further ado, then let's get into this episode with Ana Ogbueze. Welcome to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Ana Ogbueze, welcome to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
I am super excited as well to have this conversation with you. And just want to start off by saying you just celebrated a birthday, right?
I did. It's the big 4-0. And so I've joined the 40s club. And honestly, it doesn't feel as scary as I thought it would be. I kind of feel like myself, but I know that, and much like many, I had, goals that I wanted to reach at the age of 40. And there's some more on that list, but I feel okay. I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I would never guess the big 4-0, but that's definitely an accomplishment, and happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
So, I'm just going to jump right into it. We know, or a lot of people may know, they may not know, that you were an NBA dancer for 4 consecutive seasons with the Charlotte Hornets, formerly known as the Bobcats, from, was it 2004 to 2008. You served as a sideline captain and a contributing choreographer. Out of all of your titles and accolades, which one means the most to you? And which one, as I know, which one you think represents your current career at the moment?
Oh, that is such a great question. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of all of my accolades, I would say anytime I'm in the position as a teacher or someone that's, in service or sharing insight or choreography, when I was on the team and at the end of my rookie season, I want to say like the second half of my rookie season, when I was approached about becoming a sideline captain, obviously I felt like, oh wow, this is a big responsibility, but it felt so good to be able to lead and feel confident in that, and make sure that our group looked the best that we could look, and just kind of being that person to contribute or help. Like I love being in service. So that particular title, instructor, teacher, captain, those things are comfortable for me. But I always am coming from a space of like, how can I make whatever we're doing better? Or how can I add to whatever the experience is? And in my current role as an entrepreneur, I'm wearing a lot of those hats where I am either leading our staff of instructors, or whenever there's a private lesson that comes about with a young person that's looking to audition and just needs some guidance or some type of insight. I really love in that position to be able to help the next up and coming whatever instructor, dancer. I love being able to share all the things that I learned along the way, because I wish at one point I would have had even more of that. I definitely was someone that just was shooting in the dark. I was just ambitious and had a dream. And Just having someone kind of show you the ropes is extremely helpful. And yeah, an owner of a dance studio, I think having that particular position, I take very seriously. It's an honor to be able to be in that position, and so that's probably the most important, the one that I really, really hold with high regards for sure.
Yeah. That's amazing. And you said that you were approached your second half of your rookie season to be a sideline choreographer. That's wild. I feel like that's unheard of.
It's
Usually
funny.
rookies are told to be like, stay in your place and just, observe your first season. But yeah.
Funny story behind that. It was a game where our captain, I believe, either I can't remember if she was sick or for whatever reason wasn't able to lead our
Mm.
sideline. And my coach at the time, she said, "You ready to step up?" And I said, "Sure." And I just was ready and prepared for it. And then we kind of alternated, and then eventually she offered me the position, and she was like, I think you're ready. You've kind of shown improved. And so it definitely was something I was kind of like thrown into the fire, but
Yeah.
because of my love for dance and my love for just being on a team, I wanted to make sure I knew like every corner, every routine, anything possible. I really was super passionate about that. So,
Yeah, to me, it sounds like you were like leading by example because like you've shown that you can do it. But also that's the definition of opportunity meets preparation. Like what you just
mhm,
described there is like
mhm.
the definition of that. So you just never know when it's going to come, that opportunity. So props to you. What do you think makes someone a professional dancer opposed to a dancer without the professional in front of it?
I would say the commitment level.
Mm,
I don't believe the title of professional dancer has a look or a body type or background. Honestly, it's really how committed you are to the craft. To be an expert at anything, I think it's what 2,000 hours or something that you have to dedicate to it, or to really like put yourself into it. And I believe that the gift of dance it could be in anyone, how you nurture it, how you really pour into yourself, how you position yourself, and the seriousness at which you put into it, I believe is what makes you a professional. Being a professional is a mindset. I believe it is a character trait. I believe there's so many other things that contribute to a professional outside of their look and their background. I am not a traditional dancer. I did not grow up dancing since I was 3 years old. I believe I was like 14 or 15 before I took my actual first dance class. And then I booked my first professional job at 18, 19 years old. And
mm.
so that in itself tells you it doesn't need necessarily a time frame to have that mindset, but to continue and to for the longevity of your career, it's all about commitment.
Yeah, that's a really interesting and important way to look at it is being committed to the craft because like you said, a lot of times it's not like you have to have a specific background. You have to have this many years of experience like a traditional
Right.
job. You just have to be able to, step into that role and be committed and dedicated to it. So I think that's a really good point of view. Have you ever faced adversity like in your dance career? And I'm sure we all have at some point, but if you did, how did it change the way that you look at performance and entertaining?
Yes, the adversities, and honestly, looking back on it, was it the end of the world? No. At that time in my life, yes, it felt like, "Ah, this is what I've always wanted. What do you mean?" I'll be completely transparent and tell you exactly what it was. There was an opportunity. I believe I dance for an NBA team, so we had the All Star weekend was coming up, and that's when they bring in one particular dancer from each team. And there were submissions put out, and an amazing dancer was selected from my team. But it was the one goal that I secretly held, where I was like, I want to be the captain, I want to choreograph, and then I want to go to All Star, and then eventually I want to, be a coach. So internally, it was one of those things where I was just like, oh. So the adversity that came with it was processing that information and not allowing it to taint my perspective on being on the team, being a team member, being supportive. At that age, I was very young and very fresh to adversity, or in regards to not getting what I want and feeling
Mhm.
like I was not given the same opportunity to earn the position. I think that's where the adversity came in, where I felt like it was something that I didn't have the opportunity to really prove myself. Because I never really had the type of adversity where I had an issue or a problem with someone else or a team member. I'm very merit based. I'm very results and goal oriented, and so I don't mind earning my spot. And when I feel like that wasn't available, it was a tough pill to swallow, and I had to pull myself up out of bootstraps. And I won't lie, I had a moment, I had a couple of days by myself. I wasn't gonna, project it on someone else. But I think it was just about reminding myself why I was on the team, why I wanted to dance, what my love for performing, where it was really rooted,
Yeah.
and being a person who was just very used to hard work and used to, collecting those accolades. When they don't come about, then what do? Do you just give up and like throw away all the other amazing experiences that you've had? Do you allow it to again taint how you move forward? And once I realized that it doesn't necessarily define me, it doesn't take away from me as a team member and as a dance artist. And I had to remind myself, what's for you is for you, and God is always going to provide and always going to allow those doors to open and to spring wide open. And so in that particular situation, I didn't get to go to All Star, but I've worked with so many amazing dancers that have been on All Star teams. In fact, the choreographer for that year, I ended up working with her years later. So I still was able to have that, um, all the joys of what that experience could have been. And yeah, I think it's just about reminding yourself who you are and whose you are, and what is meant for you is for you, and to be honest with yourself, even if it bothers you. Give yourself time to process it, and then yeah, build that bridge and and keep going.
Keep it moving. Yeah. How was that selection process? Was it like a team voted, or was it like like a coach's choice?
You know what? So I believe it. So for it to be in, I want to say it was around the first. I want to say it was new for us as an organization. So I'm pretty sure it was more of a, coach's choice of just appointing someone that was, obviously an amazing dancer, but someone that could handle the pressures and that had maybe been in that position before. It wasn't necessarily a voting situation. It wasn't an audition. And it was definitely information that we received in real time. So I think it was just like one of those quick decisions, like, okay, we need to send someone, let's send so and so because we feel
Yeah.
confident with them. So again, I didn't, at the time I thought, well, what's like, when did this happen, But looking back on it, I think it was one of those real quick decisions that needed to be made
Hmm.
and needed to be made quickly. And again, the young lady that went is an incredible dancer, amazing. And yeah, it's the business as well. Like sometimes you aren't afforded a briefing. You aren't afforded a detail of like how decisions are made. And from the coaching staff to the organization itself, there's so many moving parts, and sometimes that luxury of disclosure isn't available. And so yeah, it was to our understanding just a quick decision from the organization, the coaches,
Yeah.
to kind of move quickly and not miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I feel like I've gone through a similar situation,
Mm-hmm.
and although it's not, exactly like your situation, it kind of just brings up memories about like what happened and I guess not being afforded an opportunity to do something, but it I kind of like in silence, like you said, went through it and like
Mm-hmm.
had to really process, what does this mean? Like this doesn't mean that all the other opportunities I had and did are not important, because that was like a personal goal that I had. So I really thank you for sharing that, because I felt alone at that moment a lot of times, and I felt like, I was maybe selfish is the word at points. And I was just like, okay, well, like, but what you had to keep reminding myself, what's meant for me is meant for me.
Right.
Yeah. And whoever is given the opportunity, of course, they were given it for a reason. And it's my job as a teammate to support them and, cheer them on too.
but I understand the feeling of feeling lonely,
Mm-hmm.
especially super important to you. Because in the same vein, my other teammates, it went over their head. I was like, oh, okay, great. It didn't even
Yeah,
matter. So when it is that important and you don't really have anyone that understands,
exactly. Yeah.
what you're going through, it can feel lonely. But we get to the other side of things no matter what.
Yeah. And I look back on that and I'm just like, you know, looking back is not that big of a deal, but like you said, when you're in it and you're part of that team and it means so much to you in that moment, you're just like, oh, dang.
Yeah, because even if you have the opportunity to at least audition or at least try and you don't make it, that's different.
Yeah,
But when you don't
exactly.
even have that to give you that type of resolve and that type of like, closure with it, yeah,
Mhm.
girl, it was not exciting, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. What do you think makes somebody a great choreographer?
Ooh. Um, well, I think it's important to open with. I think there are choreographers, and I think there are teachers, and I think those are two separate brains. I
Ooh.
believe a great choreographer does embody the essence of a teacher, but there are very creative choreographers that have amazing movement and they have all this amazing creativity into them. But I think what makes a great choreographer is someone that embodies both being creative with movement and the essence of a teacher. A great
Mm.
choreographer knows how to work with the bodies in front of them. It's not just about their vision, it's not just about the movement, but how do I really articulate what I see in my brain and then onto the bodies that I have available to me. If you are a choreographer for a team that you maybe didn't audition or didn't select, you're coming in as a choreographer, you have to work with the bodies that are provided for you. You have to know how to pull out the best out of your dancers, how to connect them to the movement so that they are performing at their highest level to then take the choreography to a whole different space. And I think being a choreographer that listens and observes, being extremely observant. How quickly are they picking up the movement? How quickly are they connecting with the performance element of the movement, especially in the pro world? We can have a very simple dance, but how you perform it is the game changer. Or it could be extremely detailed, but if the connection or the execution isn't there, the choreography still falls flat. And so I think a great choreographer is someone that's very observant in addition to being creative and someone that really understands their talent pool, the bodies that they have available to them. Like, how do I really maximize on them as dancers? It's a conversation essentially
Yeah.
that I feel like makes a really great choreographer.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's a really good way to describe it. I never really thought about it like that. So what do you think just a teacher is then? If a choreographer is like good for the vision, then what is a
Mhm.
teacher? Do they just teach the moves and that's it?
You know what? They teach the other components to dance. They empower the student. They teach the how to get into it, not just the what. A choreographer is going to teach you what to do. A teacher is really going to teach you how to do it. How do you get into the body? How do you get it in and out of the movement? How do you dance through your fingertips? How do you let the electricity and the energy come out in your performance? Dancing is different than performing. Though how do you channel certain things? A teacher will teach you how to embody the character of the choreography. So if I'm working with choreographer A and it's all about palm and it's all about lines and being super clean, how do I embody that character? If it's about personality and it's very thrashy and it's very expressive, how do I get into that character? That's what a teacher can empower a dancer to do. So it's a mindset. It's how you approach the dance. I think choreographers approach dance really about the story and performance. And a
Mhm.
teacher will approach the connecting with your body in order to articulate whatever choreography is given to
That's deep.
you.
Real deep. That's real deep. I love that. So on a different vein, what do you think makes a student a great
Okay.
student in the class and outside of the class?
Okay. I feel like a student is, they have a burning curiosity.
Mm,
They have a genuine desire to learn,
mm,
not just display.
mm,
If I really want to be the best that I can and see all the full capacity of who I am as a dancer, I'm always going to be curious. It doesn't matter who the teacher is, there's something that can be absorbed out of that class environment. I also am very aware of a teacher versus a choreographer. So I know how to, I can set my expectations accordingly. I think a
mm,
real student is also observant. They also are receptive
mm,
to growth.
mm,
And I am very intentional about wording because I think sometimes when dancers hear terms like criticism or correction, it has a negative connotation to it. I look at it
mm,
as growth. Like if you don't know what you don't know. So if someone is telling you how to approach hip hop versus jazz or even jazz funk, you know,
mm,
that is where growth can happen. But you have to be able, you have to be receptive. You have to understand that you are in a space to absorb and learn and take in, and take your class environment seriously. A true student understands the difference and knows that, whether this teacher is, extra popular and have all these followers, or, they're a little bit less known, but very seasoned, what can I take out of this experience? Because it's still valuable and it's still class. And I think, again, that is inside and outside of the school, outside of the classroom for a student. A student needs to always want to grow. They want a desire to surprise themselves as to what they can do, what they can accomplish. They have, again, that curiosity, that hunger, and they really value the time that they have with a person that's teaching them.
mm, mm. So I do want to get into your childhood and growing up in dance. You said that you started when you were 14 or 15, and I did read that as well. And it shows that you can really start at any age and still succeed in some whatever that means for you and succeed in the dance world. Tell me about like your childhood and did you like hop out the womb dancing? Like how did you get into it like in your love of performing?
Oh, it's so interesting that you asked this. I was honestly just sharing a story with another friend. I am the creative one in my family. So I come from a family of artists, of athletes, or they're really big in academics. And so to be the only creative or artsy person in the household was interesting. I didn't necessarily have the same environments that my brothers who play sports, or even my sister, who plays sports. And then when it came to school, like I always did very well in school because I come from a Nigerian household. So I did very well in school. It was not an option. But when it came to dance or art or music, that was always seen as recreational, or like what you do after you achieve all these other big things. And so I was very shy. And I think I was really shy just about expressing myself and how deeply connected I was to the arts. But as a young kid, I remember watching the Disney Channel, and I am totally telling my age right now. There was a show called The Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
And today we know big stars like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake were on there. But I remember watching it when they were on the show. And I just wanted to be in that environment. Like, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Every show they got, to dance, they had friends, and it was just fun. And I just remember always wanting to be able to be in that type of world. And so it wasn't until I think I started cheering when I was in like seventh or eighth grade. But of course, middle school is like awkward for everyone. So I didn't really have my rhythm, And then I was also, like, I would watch those like TRL or like 106 in Park. And in my mind, I always thought recording artists made up their own moves. So anything from Janet or Madonna or Britney, I was like, oh wow, they made up their moves. It wasn't until I discovered what a choreographer was. I think I was watching Entertainment Tonight. and Paula Abdul was being interviewed. And I remember her saying, like, teaching Janet the moves. And I was like, wait, she made up these moves? And then I became obsessed with what a choreographer was. I found out that she also was a former Laker girl. So, honey, you couldn't tell me I was not going to be the Black Paula Abdul. And so that just really sparked a genuine curiosity and energy in me where, you know, again, going back to when I was 14, 15 years old, because I did so well in school, I was afforded the ability to go to they called it something, but it was pretty much a performing arts school where you could leave your main campus and then go and study things that your home school didn't really offer. And most people would go for other languages or for, you know, IT or computer science, and they also had an arts program. So I was like, I'm going to sign up for class for dance. And I probably was in about ninth grade. So that's why I'm 15 years old. And that's kind of how I got my first exposure to a studio or a class environment. At the time, it was really heavy in ballet and jazz, which was, you know, amazing. But when we had visiting choreographers come in to teach hip hop, that was like a whole different thing. And so that's what sparked me. I think being in the environment and being around others that were used to dance really made me want to learn all that I could. But yeah, I was just a little girl secretly dancing in her room because I didn't want my daddy to hear because I was supposed to be studying. But I would just like mimic music videos. And then, like I said, I was super shy, probably up until about 10th grade. That's when I started to get a little more, I started to become more confident and, you know, being told like, wow, you picked that up really quickly, or could you show me how to do that? Or how do you remember all these steps? Like, it just built up my confidence. And I said, you know what, I'm really going to take this thing seriously. And then of course the Paula Abdul episode, that just took me up the top. I was like, okay, world, I'm about to come through. I'm gonna be the Black Paula Abdul, step to the top. Even in my senior class, my teacher, she asked, where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years? And I remember when it got to me, I said, well, I'm going to be dancing in the NBA. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm going to be dancing in the NBA. And there was like a little plaque that we had to create that had our future career, and they kept that in my high school. As soon as they found
Really?
out I danced for my first year of dancing, so that was a cool moment. That just really made me
Yeah.
just even more hungry and excited for it. But yeah, non-traditional, just kind of had this energy in me, just didn't know where or how to express it, and finally, I think what really sealed the deal was, as I mentioned, my brothers were athletes. They all play basketball. And I remember saying, I'm going to go to the NBA before my brothers go. And my dad was like, he's a Nigerian man. He's like, what is this dance that you want to do? Do you want to go and are you going to be a teacher? Are you going? And I'm like, no, there's a professional job in dance. And when I made the team, oh my goodness, he would be so happy. I would get him tickets to the game, and he would just smile like a Cheshire cat. You couldn't tell him anything.
I
And
love
that's when I felt like, okay, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was about to ask you. I know there's like the stereotypical like Nigerian like parents that I've heard like that I've gone to school with that they talk about their parents and things like that. So was your dad kind of like supportive of you when you wanted to do it, or was it kind of like after you know, made the team, he was like, okay, now I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was because it was so new, and he came to the United States for sports. He played soccer professionally, and so all he
Hmm.
knows in his mind are academics and athletics, you know. And
Yeah.
so I think it was just a new world for the both of us. And my mom, she was a little more receptive, but she also, I mean, she's American, so she knows about cheerleading and sports
Mhm.
teams and things like that. And so I think they were supportive, but I think it was still unknown to them. They didn't know how far I could really go with it. And so in middle and high school, just being a cheerleader, they would come to my games, of course, and they would see the performance. And they would be very proud. But it was my track meets that my daddy was really pushing. He was like, "You're going to be a track star. You're going to be, the next FloJo." And it wasn't until I had that conversation where I was like, Dad, I don't want to run track anymore. I really, really want to focus on dance and cheerleading. That was a tough conversation, but the drive and motivation to let him know this is a real thing, this is an actual job, I think was where he kind of was like, oh, okay, she's serious about this. Like, she keeps talking about it. And he saw my confidence change, he saw my seriousness and my commitment level change. So it was a slow progress. It started as just like, oh, we're just supporting our child that is always in stuff, to, oh, she's actually serious about this. You know, I did see a shift happen, so yeah.
Awesome. So when you were growing up, before you started taking your first dance class, what did you want to be before you wanted to be like a dancer? Was there
Ooh.
something that you wanted to be? Or did you, yeah.
You know what? I think, okay, so I wanted to be a doctor at first. But I think it was when I was a kid, I was such a perfectionist, and I wanted to go for the highest, well respected thing ever. And so when I was in like grade school, the jobs, or whenever there was like a career day, or we would have, the parents come and visit, there was always a doctor or a lawyer, or a realtor, oddly enough. But they just have these like not how do I want to say, very well known
Specialized.
professions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, of the three, I'll be a doctor. I really love math and science, so I'll be a doctor. And honey, I think it was like the first time my mom asked me to help her cook in the kitchen and touch some raw meat. I said, oh, absolutely not.
Not the raw meat. You wouldn't think it's raw meat.
I said,
You would
oh,
think it's
girl.
probably like the needles or like the
No.
blood, but the raw meat.
It was the raw meat, and I just remember so vividly being like utterly disgusted, and like it was like chicken or like some beef or something. And she says, how do you expect to be a doctor and you can't even stomach raw meat? I was like,
That'll do it.
I'm like,
That'll do.
you have a point there. So maybe that's not the not the thing for me.
So do you cook today? Like, do you think you're
Now I cook
okay?
at my big age. I cook now. I still don't love the fleshiness of meat. I eat meat, but I'm okay now. I'm better. They have cooking gloves, so that helps.
That's so funny. So when you started dancing and taking classes, you talked about what it takes to be a good student. What do you think was your biggest lesson? And then what do you think you were instantly great at?
Oh, okay. My biggest lesson, I would say, is that it's okay to not get it the first time,
Mm.
and to not be a perfectionist. That was my biggest lesson, that uh, with hard work and focus, you can get there. But if you don't get it right away, it doesn't mean you suck and you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, that was such a big lesson because I was very observant as a student. And so I still to this day tell people I never had a technical background. I would see and I could, uh, you know, do. So I didn't know this. So, like, say a double turn, right? I could do it, but I didn't know the mechanics in getting into it. I wasn't in my plie. I wasn't in a full releve. Like, I wasn't, engaging my core. Like, all these things that you would learn if you were a trained dancer, I could just replicate, or so I was very good at seeing some movement and immediately being able to like produce, and I think that came from me as a young child watching music videos and memorizing. So I could learn a dance in like 2 minutes, or not even that. Like I could quickly memorize anything because I was such a visual person. So if I saw the outline, if I saw the shape, I could do the dance. And then the more and more I would practice it, I'm adding the details, and now I'm adding the performance. And so what came natural to me was the memory of it, like the muscle. Like I could learn a dance and like, oh, it's like da 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 da, and people will be like, what?
You know how many people are like, jealous of that. Because
You want to know what's funny?
what?
On the other side of it, after it's performed, clean slate, gone,
Really?
out of my brain. Like after the moment, the game, the season, it never happened. So I'm like, I have friends now that would say like, how did you not remember this dance? And I'm like, girl, like it's done. Like the thing, it happened, the game, the performance. So I can learn it really quickly, but as quickly as I learned it, that's how quick it was out the door.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I like people can pull out full dances from like 10 years ago, and I'm just like, what? I remember certain parts, but like they do like full 4/8 counts, and I'm just
Yes.
like, yeah, I'm gonna have to relearn that.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I was like, my brain is spaghetti at this point. I once it's out of the body, it's out of the mind.
Yeah. Well, that's a true gift though, to be able to pick up choreography so quickly. Like that's something that I feel like a lot of the dancers I talk to, they try to get over, they try to get better at, because
Mm,
it's especially if you're in a pro environment or a prep class, or even if you're in an industry class with like a, well-known choreographer, you want
yep.
to be able to like you want to be able to make them happy and like show their choreography, and you want to be able to pick it up really fast, and you put yourself in that much pressure, and then you're just like it's too much pressure, and then you just like, oh, you get so nervous and then you forget, because I've definitely been there.
Mm.
I'm sure we
Oh
all
yeah.
have as dancers, but it's so important to give yourself grace, because, nobody is perfect. Nobody's going to get everything on the first try. So it's a great lesson to learn. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your pro experience. And I want to know, like, was there a moment in your dance career as a lady cat, that you just tell everyone about? If somebody asks you, like, what was it like being a lady cat? Like, what's that moment that you tell them?
Oh, oh wow. Well, it was many moons ago when I was on the team, and this is a time where the cheerleaders actually sat on the court side,
Oh, wow.
and the adrenaline, the energy that is just felt from that fast pace, like the players running up and down the court, the referees, the fans, is unbelievable. There's nothing like it. So much so, it's what charges you when you are out there to perform and dance for the hot timeouts or for the halftime, because it feels like you're woven into the energy of the game itself. It was so intoxicating. I think it's what gave us that extra boost, especially when it was a tough game or a very close game. That is probably my fondest memory of really feeling a part of the experience. I think it's so much has changed since I was on the team. I think a lot of teams aren't even anywhere near the court, or they have like a separate section, which totally understand some of the safety precautions with it, but it just changes the whole dynamic. I think it makes it feel a little separate, as opposed to this woven experience where you have, the fast paced game, and then you have the intensity of the fans, and then we as cheerleaders, we have one of the most important jobs, is what's keeping the fans engaged and keeping them excited about it, especially if it's a tough game. And no shade, no tea, but when I was on the team, I mean, any given night, it was just like, okay, cheerleaders, we need you to get back out there and keep the fans engaged. And so, that's something that back in the early 2000s, like, it was such a huge part of the job. It was like, you, yes, you have to dance, but you also need to have that sports knowledge. You need to know what's going on in the game. You need to know who the players are, what there's like, how almost like predict the flow of it, so we can call the appropriate routines, and so we can, pay attention to the fans and keep them engaged and keep them inspired and excited about it. And so, yeah, my fondest memory was feeling very integrated into the experience for the fans. The fans are incredible. My rule of thumb was always to perform to the nosebleed section. Those that had floor seats or that had, the good seats, they had a close up view. But how do you keep those fans in the nosebleed section just as entertained, just as engaging? And so we had to project our energy and our performance all the way to the top of the arena. And so, yeah, my fondest memory was just feeling like essential to doing that. Like it was a job. It was a duty. Every single night felt like, okay, we're ready to go in, coach. Put us in. Let's keep this going. And it felt like a full team. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like cheerleaders, basketball players, like we were a team, like we
Mm.
all worked together to push out a win. And even if we lost together. It didn't feel so, separated, I think.
Yeah, I have to imagine you being courtside, like you say you said on the court, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
that's I have to imagine the energy, like you said, you feel when you are sitting there. And even like the thought just crossed my mind, like, what if this basketball player like tumbles over me, you know? Did that
Babe, that was almost like we were looking forward to.
I know I would be like, oh my gosh, the adrenaline of like just thinking that, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna tumble on me and then I'm gonna be on ESPN the next day.
Or just like, that just happened. And, it was a game changing moment because it
Yeah.
went out of bounds. And yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like you're in it. Like,
You're
you couldn't
invested.
tell me
Yeah.
I wasn't the one dribbling that basketball because I was like, I feel the intensity and excitement of it. But oh, yeah. And that was always the most amazing photo op is
Oh yeah.
when ESPN catches an instant playback. Okay. The instant replay was always, that's what we wanted every single night.
Yeah, I wish that the dancers in the NBA had that access now because I feel like it's still in college and it might be on some NBA teams, but I'm not fam entirely familiar if they are. But
I think they've all went over to a different. I think they've all removed the cheerleaders from the court. I really do. I
oh,
can't remember the last time I saw cheerleaders.
yeah, you don't really see them that much during the games. It's
Mm-mm.
just sad. I know in the NFL they're like usually on the sidelines, and a lot of times they get, sometimes they get caught in the crossfire with either a player or like the ball coming that way. But at the same
Yeah.
time, like I was in that environment, and you were on the field, you were so close to the action. It's just like you feel all the excitement boiling up, like in the
Mhm.
bowl from the top down. It's just like you said, it's just an experience that you can't really, you have to be there to really understand it.
Just even the fans, like
Yeah.
the fans are incredible. Like the
Oh yeah.
way they are so invested in every play and every second of it, you can't help but feel that same energy, Like I think that was another really cool moment, especially the super fans that would be like fully decked out.
Yes.
They
Every game.
were
They'd be there
committed.
every game.
Every game, every game.
What was your mindset during your first audition for the pro team? What are some of the thoughts that were going through your head? I think mindset's one of the biggest things that you can work on during the audition process on alongside, of course, your fitness and your
Mhm.
dance ability and performance quality. Just tell us about your mindset going into auditions.
Wow. One, I remember the day like it was yesterday. And I remember my mindset day of, but even my mindset going into it. Because so I was a freshman in college. I was finishing my freshman year. So I was like 19, I believe. Um, I was dancing for my collegiate team. I was a gold duster. And I just knew I wanted to do something a little bit more. I just wanted to do something different. So I was like, I really wanted to go dance for our NBA team. And my RA at the time, I'll never forget, she was like, well, honey, so many girls go out to audition. And so you probably aren't going to make it the first year. So it's
Mm.
okay. Don't even worry about it. It's hundreds of girls. And I don't know what clicked in my head, but I was like, girl, okay, girl.
That's gonna
Like,
make
you
me
don't
even
know.
want to go out more.
You don't know who I am. Honey, I'm from Greensboro. So I go home for the summer to Greensboro because I think auditions might have been in like June or something. And I just had this like, it does not matter what happens. I'm not leaving that arena without this uniform. Like
Mm.
I just had my mind made up. And now I can call it audacious faith because I had zero idea of what to expect. I had zero idea of how to present myself. So much so because I'm 19 and I've only, I've only had cheerleading tryouts and then for the Gold Dusters. And so never auditioned for a professional team. I show up at the audition in Sophie shorts and a sports bra. Okay. Like literal tryout outfit. And I think I wore, they were yellow Sophie shorts, a white sports bra because I was channeling Paula and my little Laker girl. And I had these really thick bangs. I had like a headband, like I wore my hair out. And I show up and immediately I see rhinestone tops and bedazzled and like full hair and makeup. And I didn't know anything about no lashes. And like, so I'm like, oh wow, it looks really, really different. But again, I just had this, I had my mind made up. My mindset was, my mind is made up. I am, no matter what's thrown at me, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get that uniform. And I said, I'm going to just do what I do. I'm going to give it my all. And it was about, preliminaries was a 1 day tryout, I think. Yes, it was 1 day for the preliminaries. And then we had like a week long of camp during tryouts. And so there were 400 girls that auditioned. Wow. And they picked 12 of us. Oh. And that was the most intense time and situation. And it was the inaugural season of the Bobcats because the year before they were the Hornets. The Hornets had left and went to New Orleans. And then this was like a whole new franchise, new coaching staff. And for some, it may say like, oh, well, it's a little bit easier because it's brand new. No, they had already in their mind a very specific type of team that they wanted. And none of us knew what that was. And the final day of auditions was public. It was open to the general public. It was at Founders Hall. Wow. And even to this day, there are people that, that I know, they're like, I remember that was like crazy for y'all to be auditioning for a team and like the world is sitting there watching because, normally auditions are behind closed doors and it's very top secret. And we had to go out and I want to say, I can't remember where my number was called, but in that moment, I was just like, I've been through it all. I've been through, day one of being 400 girls and then, getting us down to, I think it went from like 400 to like 20, 25 or something like that to 12 for the final team. But I just felt like I belonged. My mindset was, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, no matter what. So I didn't even allow doubt to come in. I even remember during the finals, there was a girl who, I think she like needed help with choreography. And I was like, oh, it's like this. So I'm like helping her on the side and we're competing with each other, But later on, my coach or one of the coaches at the time said she remembered that. That's what stood out to her about me and that I had on cheerleading shorts and a sports bra. But she was like, the character at which you displayed in this very intense environment showed me like, okay, this girl is someone that we should, pay attention to. So yeah, the mindset was confidence in myself. I had already made my mind up that I was committed to seeing it through from day one to day whatever. And it doesn't mean it didn't come with any trials. It was hard. It was very hard. I remember twisting my knee or something and I had to take a step back out of the dance and the choreographer, because we would have a coach and a choreographer, and then eventually the choreographer became the coach. And I remember she came up to me and was like, tighten up. What are you crying for? And I was like, oh my God. I was like,
while your knee was twisted?
Yeah, like while I'm like on the side and it was kind of like that tough love, I think we now have better language around how to approach a situation like that. Yes. But it did leave an impression in me where she was really saying, don't feel sorry. Don't just feel sorry for yourself and give up. Take time that you need and then get right back into it. Like, you're okay. You're fine. Because I think she could see defeat in my eyes because I had made it all the way up and then just couldn't understand why this thing would happen at this point. And I was really appreciative of her, kind of giving me that shock factor Like I said, today I probably would approach it a little uniquely, but there was something about an understanding that we had, and we're extremely close even to this day. Like if I were to see her out, we always remember to that moment, and like I said, it really made me not give up and not quit on myself. So again, the mindset was like, make your mind up, be committed to doing it, even when it is hard.
Mm,
Follow through, and there's just always something positive on the other side of it, whether it's favorable or not favorable.
yeah.
I had already felt very great and very settled and at peace with the audition process. And so, yeah, it was intense that first year. I don't know if it's been that crazy since, but yeah, honey, it was 400 some girls. They had 12 of us on that team, and it was the best day of my life.
I that sounds like just that's an amazing story, first of all. And it's also just the character aspect of it. It's just like that's such an important lesson to learn. Like it's not just about what you can do with your body and with the choreography. It is about type of person that you are. So like, and it also shows that people are always watching. Like nobody's just going to be, you might think they're not watching, they are. So, or somebody's going to be telling them.
Yes, that was the biggest thing I learned, because after that audition, and then of course, I danced for consecutive years. That was the biggest note. From the moment you are in the parking lot, you are
Mm,
being watched and being judged, and it's what I share with the young ladies that now come to the studio
mhm.
for training. Is giving them the full 360 perspective of auditioning, not just the dance.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, when you showed up in your sports bra and your Sophie shorts, it's called Sophie's, right?
Sophie's,
It's been so
yes.
long. I've had some, but yeah, it's been so long since I heard that brand. Everybody had the Sophie shorts back in the day.
Hmm.
Do you think that's something that if somebody shows up to an audition today, do you think that's acceptable? Like because of all of the, I guess there's so many resources out. Like you have your classes, I have my program. Like there's so many other ways to find out how you show up for an audition. Do you think if somebody showed up for an audition today, do you think it's acceptable to show up like that in this day and age?
You know what? That's an interesting question, because I'm gonna say acceptable is an interesting term. I'm gonna say I would say, is it strategic? Is it
Mm,
going to get you that cutting edge? Every market is different. I think now there's, especially present day, auditioning is night and day from when I audition, we audition. Like it's always evolving and changing.
yeah.
Every 2, 3 years, I would say.
Hmm.
So it's a gamble. I think it would be acceptable in the sense of it's a different. You don't have as much of a limited way to present yourself. Is it strategic? It depends on who you're going for. I think if you're in a market where they are more cutting edge and open, and it's all about the raw talent, it could work in your favor, but it's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
I tell girls, research your market. It's like any job. If I'm going to go interview for a bank or for any organization, I'm researching the company. I'm going to have my talking points. I'm going to know exactly the environment I'm going into. It's no different with a team. If the team is more conservative, absolutely not. Do not go in there and play yourself. If the
Yeah.
team is a little more edgy and outgoing, yeah, you have a little bit more creative breathing room. So I think it's about what is the best strategy going into it. Every team is going to be different. I think
Yeah.
there's a safe way to approach it,
Hmm.
but safe doesn't always get you seen.
Right.
Like if there's a bunch of safe girls out there, how do you stand out in a good way? You all look
Exactly.
alike. It's boring. Like no one cares. And maybe they now forget about that whole look because
Yeah.
this one girl who is in Sophie shorts and a sports bra, they're like, "Now, I gotta see what she about to do because she came up
Exactly.
in here." So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think I would do it if I knew it was a way for me to stand out in a good way, 1,000%. But I'm a risk taker.
Yeah.
I'm a risk taker, and I do believe there's a way to hide certain things. So let's say you're not the strongest dancer, but you're passionate about it and have always had a dream of dancing on the team, you might lean more into your appearance. You might lean more into the outfit. I have danced in seasons with teammates who, you know, they had stronger looks and appearance and they had dance background and ability. And we were
Yeah.
teammates, you know? And so I definitely think your approach to auditioning has to be fully strategic, 1,000%. So it's hard to say if it's acceptable,
Yeah.
but more of a, is it going to give you that edge that you need to stand out in a good way?
Yeah, because that's where my mind goes. My mind is like, okay, if you don't, sometimes what you don't know is your superpower. So like if you encounter somebody that does show up, like in those Sophie shorts and that sports bras today, it's like they're gonna stand out, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
it's whether the the staff think that they're gonna stand out in a good way or a bad, or I guess unquote unquote bad way. You know, that's up to like how they dance, how they present themselves besides
Yes.
what they have on. So it's like it's a way to stand out, but it's like you said, strategic
If
because
you're gonna do, yeah, if you're gonna do it, make sure they have something to look at because they are
exactly.
all eyes on you at this point.
Yeah, because then it gets away from the cookie cutter. Like we always see the girls in the rhinestones. We always see the girls with the full glam, you know. It's like we see that, we expect that, but I'm not
Yeah,
expecting this. Like what's she gonna do? Like you said. So yeah,
I would
I
love
think it
that.
could
Oh,
work.
I would love it if a girl came in there that yells confidence. That
Yeah.
like yells like, oh, I'm
Oh
ready
yeah.
to dance.
And
Yeah.
it yells like raw, like
Hmm.
just wanting to go after it. And yeah, just I woke up today. Sometimes, yeah, maybe not I woke up today, but it's giving like I am here to show my talent.
Yeah.
And yeah, no matter what I like have on my body, I know what I have to bring. And it's that
Right.
confidence. Yeah. So yeah. So it's such an interesting conversation. So tell us about your new opportunity with Choreographer Pros.
Yeah, so Choreography Pros, an incredible convention. I have actually, my very first year was 2017. I was approached by the owner of the convention. She had seen me in a lot of the celebrity fitness programs that I did with Shaun T for a few years. And I was hired to come on as a dancer and a choreographer for the program, and she would work out for the program. And then she also was really good friends with Shaun T as well. So she was like, "Who is this girl? Where did she come from? How did you find her?" And that is even a crazy story in itself. But that's how she was. That's how I was approached by her. She would just see a lot of my material on social media, and she obviously knew I had a MBA background. And what she didn't know at the time was that was one of my dreams, was to either be a coach or choreograph for teams all over the world.
Mhm.
And at that time of when she reached out to me, I couldn't believe it. I almost like dropped my phone because I was like, are you kidding me?" Because even though she had seen my work, the company has been around for a few years now, but it's a very tight knit family, and a lot of the choreographers have been doing it for years. So even though, like I mentioned, you have your teachers and your choreographers, a lot of them were teachers and choreographers or former coaches or current coaches. And so they just had a different insight on the professional choreography world. Whereas I felt similar to what I did my rookie year auditioning, where I'm just gumming in here, green, I don't know anything, but all I know is that I want to do this. So she took a chance on me, and that particular year, it was unbelievable because the convention attracts a lot of West Coast teams and teams in the Southeast, and so in the Northeast and the West Coast. And so I'm the Southern girl that comes in there. And of course, I had to bring my Southern charm. And so all the routine, like I had the formations, I had all the rah, rah, but it had that pocket, that swag. And, I was able to show how you can bring authentic hip hop into the professional world. It doesn't have to just be jazz funk or with a little bit of a booty pop. No, we gonna dance, we gonna dance. And, I was also having the studio and being around such amazing choreographers and bringing in guest choreographers to seeing the capacity at which we could present a 1 minute to 110 routine with formations and attitude, that it was possible. It definitely was very memorable that year, and she invites me back every single year. And now, I think the only time I took a year off was during the pandemic, of course. But we did some like pop up events. She has a staff of over like 20 or 30 choreographers that come in, and so now I'm on the planning and programming side of things, and now opening up the doors of opportunities for other emerging choreographers. Because since then, I don't teach classes as much, and I am really, really passionate about this producer profession that I have now, still through the studio and my nonprofit, but I just love that concept of producing and like finding talent and this fresh new energy and giving them a platform to then be able to show what they can do, because I knew I still resonate with how much it meant to me to be in that position for someone to say like, yes, we
Yeah.
want to give you a shot. And so, yeah, now I'm more on the producing and planning side of things for the convention, but we have our next one in July in Arizona.
Yay. That's awesome. And who can show up to that? Does it have to be teams?
It doesn't have to be teams. We do have a couple individuals that'll come. They'll still come in like a group of 2 to 4, but yeah. So predominantly we're gonna have mostly teams, NBA, NFL, and a lot of collegiate teams. And
Okay.
so it doesn't always have to be professional teams, but most of the teams are gonna come out with their coaches or 4 to 6 representatives from each organization. But yeah, every once in a while we'll have what we call independents. They may be a part of a cheer club, or they might be semi-pro, or they're auditioning next year for a professional team, and so they come in together as a group, but they are looking to be placed for a team for the following season.
And it's over like a weekend. It sounds like it's
Yes, it's over a weekend, so it's a Thursday to Sunday, and all of the choreographers were from all over. So we have from the Detroit Pistons, we've had Brooklyn Nets, we've had Denver Nuggets, Golden State War. I mean, you name it. And either it's the choreographers for that team, the coaches for those teams, or just choreographers that have now, taught for these other organizations that come out there. So yeah.
yeah, that sounds like a fun opportunity.
It's so much fun. Oh my God, I can't wait. Had a team call about a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be in Arizona in July.
Bring your fan, bring your little misty fan because it's gonna be hot. Sounds hot.
And it's a different type of hot, babe. It's like
Dry hot, dry
this
heat.
hot. Oh my gosh.
Darly breathe. So I know you're huge into faith and trusting God, and you mentioned your favorite quote is Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. And it's trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in always submit to him and he will make your paths straight.
Hmm.
So with that, was there a pivotal moment where God had planted a seed for you to start NC Dance District when you did?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it came at a time where um, a lot of things didn't make sense. I think that's why that scripture means so much to me, because as long as I can remember, even as a kid, my number one or my favorite question was always why. Why, how, like I wanted to figure. I'm naturally curious and always trying to figure things out, and I'm very well, if you do this, you get this result.
Yeah.
And after I had retired from the team, like I said, I danced 4 years, and I was so energized to keep my career going as a performer, but just outside of the NBA world. I wanted to dance for a recording. I wanted to be on tour with Sierra. I wanted to, do television and films and movies. And so for about 3 years, I was just in that pursuit. So I'm auditioning and I'm, in the business and I'm booking work, but it wasn't as satisfying as I thought it would be. And I felt very underwhelmed. And I was just asking God, like, I thought this is what I was supposed to be doing. Like, why am I not happy? And why am I not fulfilled the way that I thought it would be. And I'm like 23, 24 years old. So of course I feel like, oh, I'm so old and the world is just over. And my mom, I remember her saying, you should just, open up a studio. I come from a family of entrepreneurs and like I said, real big, like, smart and enterprising individuals. And I'm like, I'm not trying to open up no studio. That's for old ladies that are retired. Like I'm still popping. I'm trying to live out of a suitcase and live the fast life. And when I then was met with that disappointment a little bit or that underwhelmed feeling, because I'm in Atlanta. I'm either in Atlanta, New York, or LA, like every week, every weekend. And I just wasn't fulfilled. And I'm just sitting there asking God and questioning. And I just couldn't understand for the life of me. And then I finally, surrendered and said, okay, let me just consider this whole business thing. And I remember coming home after a really terrible experience in like Atlanta. And I remember saying, well, if I open up a studio, I'm going to put everything in the studio that I feel like is missing in other studios. And it was the compassion. Yeah. And it was the empowerment that I think was missing when I was just taking classes at studios. It was very nasty. It was very competitive, but in an unhealthy way. It felt like people were always judging you and no one was actually I think that's what really made me say, okay, I've been taking class with a lot of choreographers, but the classes that I'm taking with actual teachers that are showing me how to do the thing to be better is what I want to bring to Charlotte. And, there really wasn't any type of establishments that were catering to aspiring dancers, particularly adult aspiring dancers. And so I remember sitting and now I know I was in deep prayer, but at the time I'm just thinking, I'm like festering over this thought. And finally I said, okay, let's just try it and see. And at the time I had no idea how many other dancers were in the city because I come from this NBA world. So all I know are my NBA girls, or NFL. And the day we opened, when I tell you, it was like the floodgates opened of all these dancers rushing in that had been dancing for years and had dance crews and were, going to conventions and competitions. And it just opened up a whole world that I had no idea even existed that I was chasing outside of Charlotte, not knowing it was already here. Oh. And that is where I said, okay, God, there's something happening that I feel like is a little bit bigger than me. And I just felt so drawn to it. And I felt like there's something special. There are people on the other side of this that really, really need this space, this building to be open. And at the time, the studio was called Studio Rush. Me and my best friend at the time, we came together and opened it. And she was really into health and wellness. And she was she was going to school for nursing. And she had like more of the like medical and wellness side of things. And then I was like dance choreographer, bringing in all these like different guests and stuff. So it was a great blend of the two worlds. But after about a year and a half, she went off to medical school to become a nurse full time. And I was like, I think there's still something there. I'm gonna keep this going. And it was 2012. And the name Dance Session just popped in my head. And the idea was to be like this breeding ground of creativity where dancers from all across the city could come and just exist and we could create space for them and really, really lean into what is now our mission, creating those countless opportunities for dancers to train, perform, and live out their dreams. And, that year 2012, I think was just so pivotal because like I said, even though we technically opened in 2010, it took those 2 years to really fine tune our voice and our intention and to allow God to really give us that clear picture of the purpose behind it. 2010, it was just, we just want to dance. We just need a space. And, while we're living in Charlotte, we might as well have somewhere to train and to, exist. And then 2012, it was like, okay, and this is why. And these are the people I need you to connect with. And literally God would just align me or position me with people that I know for a fact I had zero to do with connecting with them. It was literally a random phone call or things falling out of the
Mhm.
sky or an email coming about, yeah, I just had to be obedient. I just had to say, all right, it's less about me as a dancer, my dreams of being a performer. Because even at that time, those dreams were not as strong as they once were. I
Mm.
didn't have that same drive and energy and like curiosity and desire to train in that capacity. Now I'm dancing just for the outlet and the expression of it. But my pursuit was like creating an industry or bringing the attention of all these other markets to Charlotte, especially because when I was an aspiring dancer, I know these markets, like I know these agents, I know these
Yeah.
people, and so it was easy to just make a phone call. And we did a lot of amazing things. Like I had opened an agency, so I was hiring dancers, creating their contracts, helping them put their portfolio together, cleaning up their headshots, like literally giving them everything that I had learned just in being in those spaces, kind of giving them a playbook of how to really exist as a professional dancer and pursue their dreams professionally and with insight, and not just be that country dancer that doesn't know anything and just shooting in the dark. You know, like we just needed some structure here in Charlotte. And I just loved it. Like I love seeing the smiles and the facial expressions of people that like got that first check from dancing, able to earn money with your artistry in a city like Charlotte. Like it was just unheard of at the time. And I don't know, it sparked a different type of energy into me. And so that's when I knew this was, like I said, bigger than me. And I felt like God was leading me and positioning me in certain ways to continue it. And so, yeah, where we are today. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, God, what's the next assignment? Because you want to be married with some kids.
Hey, that's next. We're claiming it.
We are claiming it. It is hard. Don't get me wrong, but I'm holding on.
So how has faith shaped your life and your career, maybe even outside of dance?
It's necessary. It's like breathing.
Yeah.
Anytime I feel angst or unsettled or overly stressed or anxious about something, I know I need a reset. And a reset is to get back center and balance. And the only thing that's ever been able to keep me has been my faith. And I'm not the type of person that feels like or will say that it's easy.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between things being easy and being simple. Having faith is simple, it's not easy. It
Mm.
requires work, it requires consistency, it requires you stepping back, acknowledging like you in a space, and then getting back to it. So this it's simple because it's always there. It's always a scripture or a podcast or understanding how God speaks. Like for me, He speaks to me through symbols and random podcasts that I might hear that will say something that I was thinking, or even just journaling, or when
Mm.
I do sit down and actually read the Bible, like I'm asking for something to jump off the pages because um, I'm unique, and He knows that I process information differently. So what works for some may not work, for others, and so it's always been that constant, I believe, in my life, where because I'm so a naturally curious person, I'm always asking why. It's the only thing that will shut me up. It's the only thing that will shut up all that noise and those like that chatter. And it's just there. And then in the same vein, I have to do the work. I have to then say, okay, you're worried about this, but look at the other blessing that literally just came in minutes before.
Mm.
Because if anyone watching this is anything like me, you can have all these amazing blessings, and it takes one little thing to just like snatch that joy,
Yeah.
and you forget all the amazing stuff that you just experienced. And so in real time, I have to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I know this is irritating you. I know this is something that you're disappointed in. I know you're going to be going down a rabbit hole to figure it out. Just remember the home you live in, Remember the job that you have. Remember the peace. Remember those that love you. Remember the people that are patient with you when you're in your crazy, you know? Remember that unexpected project that came through that afforded you to be able to do this vacation, you know, like just in real time, taking a breath and trying to remember that. But I think that's an extension of faith. A lot of time we're just taught faith is just about hope and believing and trusting the word of God. And it is. And it's that. And, you
Yeah.
know, giving yourself personal reminders, because for me, I have like this attachment to tangible things, and meaning like that's what leaves the most impression in my brain, because I just having a feeling or being emotional is great. It just doesn't have the same deposit as like the physical things in front of me. And I'm just being honest with myself. And so when I am able to come home and it's a peaceful home, I feel like I'm surrounded by God. I feel like that's Him saying, "Okay, we good. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You have a roof over your head. You're okay." Even though I'm coming to an empty apartment by myself, it's mine, you know. And
Yeah.
it's at one point what I prayed for,
Yeah.
and I think just being surrounded in that is that tangible reminder, like, you're okay, girl. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You just need a moment, and then once that moment passes, you're good. So yeah, faith is essential. I talk
Yeah.
to my therapist about it all the time, and I'm like, get me back. And it's the constant. That's the constant that's always going to be there when things are all over the place or uncertain, and you don't have all the answers. It's just that reminder that you don't have to. It's okay if you
Yeah.
don't.
Did you grow up like that, like with your faith, and or did it grow over time?
It definitely was something that grew over time. Um, I've always grown up in I would say a Christian household where we believe in God. For Christmas and Easter, we are doing all the things. And we would pray over our food, and we were taught to be good people, and that, God blesses us and protects and provides. But I think it was once I became an entrepreneur and I had to put that in action, and I had a real understanding of like what it meant to be a woman of faith.
Mm,
And I also, in the same vein, I think I grew up in a bubble.
yeah.
I had a very incredible childhood that I thought was normal for everyone. And as I got older, it was like, actually, not everyone grew up with the X, Y, and Z, you know? But I had no idea, because I'm just thinking that's just normal, that's life. But as you get older and you look back and you really look at the blessings that you have, I think it kind of forces you to really nurture that side, and open up your mind even more to the things that are around you. And like, shout out to my parents. Like, that is my guy and my girl. My mom and daddy, bomb. And I love and appreciate the bubble that they created for us and
Yeah.
protected us from, so many things that I think would have turned us into different adults. But as an adult and understanding and having an appreciation for that, it definitely grew. It definitely
Mm.
developed, because I think once I opened up the studio and that bubble started to kind of like fade away, and real things are happening, and you're a real whole adult, it's
Oh,
like,
you're in it.
hey, you know what I mean? I'm like, I want to go back to the bubble.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely grew, and it's still growing. I think it's going to always grow. I think at one point I felt super solid in my faith and like, okay, I got a handle on this thing. And then something else happens, which will require you to take your faith to another level. And now I know that's going to always be, especially in this realm called life.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and it's okay. I think my first wave of me really getting back into the word and my faith, I still didn't have a full clarity of what to expect, because I'm just thinking like, oh, my mindset is changing. I'm living in purpose. I'm serving. I'm doing the good things. I'm being a good steward. And for a person like me who's so results driven and like perfectionist, and like, you do this, you get that. There's only one side of it.
Yeah.
You can do all those things, and then you will be required to take your faith to another level. And now I see it as an opportunity. It is, it can be a little prickly. It's not as exciting of an opportunity, but it is an opportunity to say, you know what, this is a reminder that I'm going to be okay. I'm in a
Yeah.
season right now. I'm in a whole season right now.
Mhm.
And today was one of them days. But just even having this conversation is, and I thank you for these questions because it is another reminder of, step away from it. That issue will be there tomorrow. But even just sometimes talking through it with someone else to remind you, like, yeah, you're going to always have to nurture and work at this. And at the end of the day, you have breath in your lungs and another opportunity at it. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's enough in itself.
Yeah. I've seen a quote. I sometimes go to Elevation Church and they had these like quotes, and it was a quote that said, God has provided you with everything you need for the season that you're in. And like I've put those quotes on like random places in my house, and it's just like it's such a reminder to like just breathe in, breathe out, and like even though your world might not seem like perfect 100% of the time, like there's a reason for the journey, there's a reason for the season that you're in, and you have what you need at this particular point to make it through this season. So I think it's a great reminder just to remember, like you said, like you have all these things that are tangible that you can pull from and
Yeah.
remind you that you are okay, that you're
No,
okay.
that's really good. That's really good because that's what it's the season. And for this
Mhm.
season, and that's all you got. And that's the other thing. Just all you have to do is think about and worry about right now in this moment.
Yeah.
Don't
So,
don't go predicting the future or trying to time travel. Like right now in this moment in this season, you're good. You're good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you celebrated, was it 11 years of Project Full Out recently, or was it?
It was, yes, 11 years with Project Full Out, 15 years this October with Dance District.
Okay. Wow. Some big milestones. So Project Full Out, for people that don't know, it's a performance-based nonprofit giving dancers from all walks of life more opportunities to dance and to gain opportunities in the industry. Is that correct?
It is, and well, it's correct. And we've probably within the last like maybe 5 or 6 years really tried to focus on the therapeutic benefits of dance. And so the
Mm.
studio is where we kind of have the doors open to invite any and everybody that wants to take class. Obviously, the studio does have a format: weekly classes, group classes, private classes. It's just where you learn and you can just be. Project Full Out is where we have like a little bit more of a concentrated time period where we have a goal at the end of the program. And so it's 6 to 8 weeks. It's open to dancers of all levels. They sign up to train under one of our many amazing choreographers, and they're all working towards this huge performance set. And so at the end of the 6 to 8 weeks, we produce a full on dance experience or concert. So we've done all different types of themes. Most recently, we had more of a competition style where we awarded the winning choreographer and team an actual job opportunity. So one of my really great friends, his name is Don Draco Johnson, one of the biggest choreographers in LA and longest running, agreed to mentor the winner and provide them an actual job. And so winning the competition was another opportunity to kind of kickstart their career. And so Project Full Out is where we apply all the skill sets and things that we learn in the class environment and then align it with opportunities. So whether it's just an opportunity to perform on a big stage or work professionally, that's what we're able to do through Project Full Out.
Dang, I love that. And I went to Project Full Out this past December for the first time. Yes, it was amazing. It was so much fun. The competition style was so cool. It kind of reminds me of like America's Best Dance Crew, where you put the videos up on the top, the screen of like the process, and like they get a challenge and then they have to put the challenge into their dance. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in the live audience of a like and it was a live show. So if that
Yes,
was
that
the
was.
goal, you definitely, yeah, props to you and the team and all the choreographers and dancers because you put on a really, really great show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, that was the whole inspiration, because I remember watching America's Best Dance Crew on TV and thinking like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that'd be so amazing to do. And my team, they are incredible. I'm always throwing random ideas at them, and I just love that they allow me to just push the limits. And so, yeah, this is our first year doing this format, this style
Yeah.
of it. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed it. So that made me feel really good. And we wanted to present it like a live recording, because that is the next goal, is to land one of those distribution deals and share
Yeah.
this amazing experience with all of America. So
Can you talk a little bit about that? Is like a actual, is it, are you trying to make an actual show, like a reality show? I think when I saw you at AC Dance District not too long ago, maybe a month ago, you were talking about it a little bit. So can you talk a little bit about what you have coming down the pike with that?
yes. And so we captured it with that intention in mind. And so now we have 8 episodes of a little mini series. And it has a little blend of like America's Best Dance Crew, competition show, reality show, but it's going to be in about 2 installments. And so we'll have the performance competition show, which you attended, and we'll kind of show the performances, tiny little backstory of each group, and then obviously at the end, who won the competition and who won the big award. But then we also have a docu-series where we'll dive even deeper in the stories of the dancers that are a part of the groups, because they all have such amazing stories. And so we are spotlighting a couple of them that really had those stories that I believe are very transformative and inspiring to dancers. And my hope is that someone will watch it and see themselves on the screen and say, you know what, I can do that, or it's not too late for me. And the whole entire theme around Project Full Out is supporting what we like to call second chance dancers. And so these are individuals that have always had dreams of dancing on the big stage, but for whatever reason, life came at them fast and they had to put those dreams on hold. And so this is their opportunity to live that out again. And our goal is, once it reaches, or whatever big streaming deal that we get, um, we want to open it so therefore we can serve dancers from all different markets. And the only requirement is that you're a raw dancer, unsigned, no agent. You just have a love and a passion for dancing. No age requirement, no background. You're just committed and ready to go. And this is the opportunity to do so. And so, like with Project Full Out, I do have this production. I've written 4 different television shows around it. So we have Pursuit of the Crown, which is the show you came to. We have the docu-series. We also have one where we are going to kind of give them a dream team of a stylist, a choreographer, a trainer, and like prep them for a big audition. So kind of giving them that whole full-on package of like what it takes to be a professional dancer. But again, our goal is to target that untapped market, or those hidden gems that are in the city. And so yeah, we are in that early development stage, shopping it around. So if anybody is watching this and you know somebody, it's ready to go. I am going to throw an event around it. So I'm going to probably have like a private premiere party so everyone can see the first episodes. And we'll probably move it over to YouTube eventually. But yeah, the goal is to definitely, that is my dream. That's the new dream, is that God blesses it, honey. We are in
That's
somebody's network, somebody's Netflix.
yes, we're claiming it. We're claiming kid. We're claiming a husband and kids. We're claiming the network. We're claiming it all today. Like bring it
All three.
all, God.
All three. That's all I want. That's it.
That's so exciting though. I can't wait to see like what comes about it, and I'm sure it's going to be great. Um, Last question, what do you think is going to be the future of dance in the Charlotte community?
Ooh, you know what? I've recently noticed how expansive, I think that's a good word, that dance is becoming. There are so many groups, organizations, small boutique studios that are, popping up in the city, where when I first opened, literally there were none. There might have been a couple classes at the YMCA, or like small groups here and there, or like kid studios. But I'm seeing how in literally different corners of the city, there's so many new opportunities and more access that's available for dancers. And so I definitely see more access, more resources being available, more people taking chances on introducing and sharing different opportunities when it comes to dance. Right now, or even in the past, the only two real professional jobs that I feel like a lot of dancers knew about were you dance for the Panthers or you dance for, now the Hornets. And that's changing. There's a lot of other opportunities that are out there, whether someone wants to be a choreographer, they want to open up their own establishment, they are a traveling choreographer, or, choreographing for competition teams, or just at NBA or NFL conventions. And so I definitely see the world of opportunities opening up even more so. I'm seeing a lot of larger organizations partner up with individual or independent dancers to provide opportunities. One of my biggest goals, in addition to the Netflix special, is to continue to align dancers with organizations like Charlotte is Creative and these other big arts organizations that have done amazing things for visual artists. And there's so many performing artists out there that I think could really benefit for those platforms. And so just recently, I was awarded the Bolt of Inspiration from Charlotte's Creative, and I was completely just like, what, are you serious? So I'm happy that there is a channel of opportunity being open for dancers through those type of larger organizations. And yeah, I think my hope is that an industry will start to continue to develop here. I think that it's been in the works for the last 10, 15 years, and it's probably gonna take another 5 to 10 to really get off the ground. But Charlotte in itself is such a huge city, such an evolving city, that with some of the other industries that have come to the city and done very well, my hope is that entertainment is up next, and we'll start to get that attention that I think we deserve. I think there's a lot of great talent here. We just need a place to display it.
Yes, such great talent, and you're like at the forefront of, just being a great a person that people in Charlotte think about when they think about dance and choreography, and just a trailblazer in this world. So yeah, hats off to you for just paving the way and being an inspiration for so many dancers and choreographers and people that want to start their own thing. And I will for sure say you were one of the people that I thought of when I wanted to start, the professional cheerleader, which is my dance program. And I was just like, if Anna can do it, then I can do it. Like, yeah, you're very inspiring. So I just want to give you your flowers now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And honestly, hats off to you as well. You've built such an amazing platform. And, I think it's just about continuing. I always say I never want to invent the wheel, but just keep the wheel going. And so, passing that baton along, and continue to support the next wave of creatives and entrepreneurs and choreographers and individuals like yourself is where my heart is. And so I thank you as well for keeping that flame going and keeping Charlotte alive. That's what it's all about.
Thank you so much. So we're going to end with some rapid fire questions. Okay, so with rapid fire, I'm going to say like a phrase or a question, and you just spit out whatever comes to mind.
Woo, okay.
Okay, so your go-to choreography move, what is it?
My go-to choreography move. Oh, that's a good one. I do have this move that I feel like I put in like probably every one of my routines. It's it's like you punch and it's like a little TD. It's like a groove and a pause, and then you like burst it open. Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's just like my thing. I feel like I love musicality. And so anytime I can add a little kiki boom, that's going to be somewhere in the routine.
A little boom cat.
A little boom cat.
What's your favorite hype song?
Ooh, hype song. So I am a child of the 2000s, honey.
There's so
Love,
many.
yes, I love. Well, I won't say it's a hype song, but I will say every time it plays, it's just like it gets me. I just make me so happy. But it's DJ Unk Walk It Out.
Ooh, yes.
It does not matter where I am. And I still actually have a beginner hip hop routine that is just like, I won't say it's gone viral, but it is like So Walk It Out is one of my majors. I would say really anything from the 99 and the 2000s. Like that is my go-to.
Awesome. That's that crunk era.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait, name a song that you're currently feeling right now.
Ooh, right now, I've really been heavy in SZA. SZA's been in a heavy rotation right now. Her most recent album, I would even say, wow, a specific song, or even Victoria Monet. I love her album too. But what song is on replay?
I would say for me, it's that Nokia by Drake.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing about it, like a couple of my teachers were teaching to it. So I was like, what is this? Because sometimes I feel not cool and I never know what the new songs are. It's definitely a heavy rotation. Yeah, I don't know if I have one song. I really just think it depends on my mood. So whatever mood I'm in, I try to find a song that kind of like, I can just keep on rotation. But I'm pretty sure Spotify would tell all my business. But I can't think of just one right now. But SZA, Victoria Monet, those are like my go-to when it comes to artists.
Okay. What is your secret? Do you have a secret hidden talent? Or I guess hidden talent.
Secret hidden talent. Oh, I don't want to say it because if I don't do it, if I don't get it right, depends on how long I've kind of had a conversation with someone. I can figure out what their zodiac sign is, but I don't want to guess yours. I do not want to guess.
I want you to guess it.
Oh, because I don't. It comes out like if I try, I always get it wrong. But like, I sometimes will have like a series of questions that I'll ask a person, and it really is just me observing like them in like different environments and stuff. But it's kind of like my party game. So let's say we're at a house party or something, and we're just having a conversation, and how people just kind of talk. I'm like, oh yeah, they're definitely a Virgo.
Wait, I want to know what you think I am. It's okay if you get it wrong. It might
Uh,
be like my rising or my sun, whatever they have, the rising, the moon.
okay, so I have to ask if we have time. I have to ask a couple
Yeah,
questions. So
yeah.
let's say, if you know that someone is, oh gosh, okay, on a vacation, are you a planner or go with the flow?
I'm gonna go with the flow. I'm actually a little bit of both, but if I had to choose, I'm more of like a go with the flow.
Okay, more of a go with the flow. Would you say you are the kind of person that if you okay, so go with the flow.
Oh wait, actually, I feel like I take that back. I don't know. It just depends on the vacation. Yeah.
Okay, any trip, girl trip, birthday trip, whatever. Are you planning months in advance or maybe like week or two when you get there?
I'm definitely planning months in advance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would be a planner.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would be a planner.
Okay. Is your closet, would you say it's neat or messy, color coordinated?
But the shoes are messy. The clothes are color coordinated, but
Okay.
it's like semi-messy. It's not that bad.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay. One more. If someone, I feel like I kind of know, but I'm nervous. Are you the friend that I'm trying to think of a scenario. Freak, I might just guess it. Someone says something incorrect.
Uh-huh.
Someone's wrong about something. Are you gonna correct them, or are you gonna be like, "What'd you say?" and like kind of keep it going?
I'm not gonna correct them first. I'm gonna like hear them out and see like what they're saying, and then after I'll probably be like, that was probably that wasn't actually it was this.
Or maybe that's the bigger question. Are you more the person that's gonna correct someone, or like not really care, but maybe like laugh it off later?
I'll definitely correct them, but it might not be like immediate.
Okay, okay. Ooh, I might be wrong, but I'm either getting, because I can ask another one, but I think it's gonna be like a giveaway. Like if you, yeah, I'm just gonna guess. Okay, so let me. Can I do three?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm either getting Virgo, Taurus, or Libra.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
Yeah.
do that. Which one
The
is it?
Taurus.
They what?
Yeah, I'm a Taurus. And Virgo is actually my rising, I think. Yeah, Virgo is my rising.
Babe, I don't know why or what it is. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm not joking. My birthday's May 10th. That's crazy. You definitely have a talent.
That I don't, and then think about it, like it's certain questions I don't ask, but like normally if I'm, let's say we're just out or we like hang out, like I'll just like can pick it up immediately, but I don't know what it is. That is so, it freaks me out.
That's wild. Oh my God. What gave it off? I guess the planner.
I think being a planner, it really is just about like being observant and like you notice. You're just very observant. You're responsible. I think a lot of Taurus and Virgos can you're some come off, some say it's headstrong, but I think you're just very secure and like you because you take time to approach things, you feel confident in them. But some
Mm.
people may look at that as like either being stubborn or you only want things your way, but it does come in it's very helpful in certain scenarios. So like I have a friend who's my sister's a Taurus, one of my best friends is a Virgo. I know for a fact between the two of them, one of them they're gonna have the itinerary, they're gonna know what's going on, they're gonna have planned. I am a Pisces. I'm probably gonna plan it day of or the week we get out there. Like, sure, let's just do this today. But that is so I got so your rising is Virgo, your sun is Taurus. Do you know what your moon is?
Taurus.
Also Taurus, Virgo.
Yeah.
Wow, love
Yeah.
that.
What is yours? So Pisces is your sun, and then
I'm Pisces, Leo, Scorpio.
oh, interesting.
So I
Okay.
am a lot. So
Yeah, that sounds like
my rising is Leo, my moon is Scorpio, and my sun sign is Pisces. So kind of all over the place.
yeah. So your rising is like what people see you as on the outside, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, is how you show up in the world, how you present yourself, and then your moon is who you are deep down inside with your close friends or people that like really, really where you can feel your most vulnerable or authentic self. And then your sun is literally just when you were born because of the Pisces sign. Like I think I lean more into the creative than like the emotional side.
mm,
I won't say I'm like sensitive or emotional about things because I do have a lot of Aries in my chart as well. So I'm
mm,
kind of like blunt to the point, very logical. Like it's either this or it's that. And so with me, I definitely feel like I'm like the creative Pisces more than just the like sulking, emotional, crying over everything. I ain't about to do all that. But that could
yeah.
be, my Leo side as well too. Like I'm like, oh no,
Right.
no, 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 no. We're not
It's
going.
like it's like what Erica Badu said. You if you're an artist, so you're sensitive about your
Yes, yes, yes. If it comes to that, oh, it will take me, it will send to me. But if someone just like doesn't like me or someone, even if they do something that's offensive, I've always said I'm very confrontational, not combative. So I'm
um
very comfortable with saying, um, I just want to get clarity on when you mentioned this. This is how I received it. Was that your intention? Just to give a person opportunity to say like, no, I said what I said. Okay, that's what's up. You know what I mean? Like then I'm gonna I'm gonna meet you with that energy. But yeah, I'm not I'm only I would say sensitive if it's the creative or even if it's a person that I'm really rooting for and they kind of give up on themselves. I do think I have that little empath where I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? Like you were so close.
yeah.
So I definitely think I have certain Pisces qualities, but I think that's the beauty of having like these different charts because you could be a blend
Yeah.
of so many different things because it makes sense why I'm more comfortable in certain areas, or I can, like, I'm comfortable around Virgos and Taurus and even Gemini's. Even though with the Gemini, we're not compatible, but I think I can understand them in a way where it doesn't make me feel like they're taxing. Like I can
Yeah.
just shut that off and like separate it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that is so crazy.
That is crazy. You definitely have a talent. That's wild. Wow. I was at a
Oh,
party once with a friend, and this guy we were talking to, he was like, yeah, you're a Taurus and you're an Aquarius. And we were like, what? How did you know that? We didn't even tell him like our birthdays or anything. We're like, there's people out there that have talents like that.
wow. Yeah. And I also think, like, sorry, I think observing a lot of people that have similar birthdays, I think also helps because I will remember a person's birthday before I remember their name for whatever reason.
I'm actually really good at remembering birthdays too. Yeah.
Hmm. And I'll always remember yours because I'm March 10th and you're May 10th.
Oh, yay. 2 months later.
Yay.
Just a couple more rapid fires.
Okay.
What's your best PFO moment?
Ooh, best PFO moment. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it was a rumor at first, but it has been confirmed since then. Um, at one point, before I was hosting the show, I was just looking for choreographers to present choreography and do the showcase. And then the year that I decided to do a group, it was really because I didn't have enough choreographers, and I was like, okay, I'll just make up something. I probably had like 80 girls in my routine, which
Wow.
was outrageous because the stage only holds so many people.
Yeah.
But the rumor was that one of the girls in the show, her cousin is Jaquel Knight, who Jaquel Knight is choreographer extraordinaire, creator of Single
Yeah.
Ladies, and you name it. Lemonade with Pharrell and Rihanna, like just
Beyonce Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
He came to the show to support her. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't find out till after the show, but it was confirmed. There were pictures. He was there, and he absolutely loved the show.
Oh, wow. So did you get to meet him?
I did not. I did not get to meet
Oh,
him because like I said, I was one of the choreographers in the show, and then towards the end, I was like, doing all the stuff. And so when someone told me it was after the show had ended, because the whole 6 to 8 weeks when she was in the program, she never mentioned that he was her cousin.
that's
And
crazy.
she was a great dancer, but she was just very quiet, very humble. And she told one of our choreographers, because she had asked him to take a picture. And that's how I confirmed. So that was just really cool that he was there.
Okay, your favorite performance that you've ever done?
Favorite performance? Wow, that's interesting. I would say, my favorite, eh, maybe it's a tie. It has to be a tie between really any of the NBA games. I think those are always just amazing. But then also I did a tour with, I was a fitness talent for about 5 years. And I was able to travel to like literally from Paris to Germany to Poland, like all over Europe. But we did a stop in, well, we started in New York before we went overseas, but we filmed in Brooklyn. And I don't know, it was just so incredible to see like all the big cameras and the lights, and just to feel like it was this huge, it was maybe, so I was one of the cast members, but we had maybe 100 supporting extras in the building and stuff like that. But it was just so incredible, and the energy was outrageous, and so many amazing opportunities came out of that performance.
Mhm.
And I met so many dancers. I even met some other cheerleaders. So I met one girl. She had danced for the Redskins, I believe, before moving to New York. I think that was one of my favorites because it was just, I was in a new city. We were about to go overseas the day after. It just felt so
Yeah.
exciting and new and different. So that was probably one of my most favorite ones.
Yeah, it's awesome. What's the best piece of dance advice you've ever received and the worst piece of dance advice you've ever received?
Ooh, wow. The best piece of dance advice. Gosh, I think, trying to think. I have individuals that I think made a really deep deposit in my dance journey. I don't know if I remember like a particular quote, but I remember how they made me feel. And I just always remember like to have fun and to just be myself, and not make myself small. That's
Mm.
really what I took the most out of, though. It was like maybe two or three either coaches or captains that really reminded me of who I was, and just to have fun and enjoy what I'm doing, and remember the joy that comes out of it. The worst advice. um, oh my gosh, the worst advice. I don't even know. I'll say one of the things I wish, one of the worst things that could ever happen is, if you're on a team, is to not pin your sports bra or pin your bra to your uniform. There was a game where she was my absolute best friend on the team. Her whole front of her uniform came open, full frontal in the game. So it was just like a quick little,
Oh
but
my goodness.
I said, I will never not pin everything that I have on my uniform. Because she was mortified, like at a game. And it was just like a normal, routine. Her
Yeah.
arms went up and the back, it was a halter top,
Yeah.
it was a halter kind of top, popped open, full frontal. Okay.
Oh goodness gracious.
The the absolute worst thing that can, I
Ish.
mean, it's just like, and she kept finishing out the dance with her hand on top of her uniform, but
Yeah.
mortified. So yeah, always pin your uniform, no matter what.
Always, no matter what. Ooh, I had a friend that happened to on stage and we were like 7 years old. And yeah, that's the worst.
It's heartbreaking because you do all that
Heartbreak.
to get to that point, and then your one little thing changes everything.
Yeah, yeah. So who is the most entertaining person that you know, and then who is the most entertaining person that you don't know?
The most entertaining person. Let me think. The most entertaining person that I know. Okay, so he's actually a really, really good friend of mine. He's a fellow instructor. He actually danced for an NBA team as well. He danced on the co-ed team. He's one of my best friends. His name is Corey Brown. There was never a dull moment around him. He is a jack of all trades. He can do so many things. He can dance, he can choreograph, he's a fitness trainer, he's an MC, he's a motivational speaker, he's an author, podcaster, I mean, you name it. But every time we're together, we have the most fun. And we can
Mm,
have the most fun literally doing nothing. We could just be in the same room, breathe in the same air, and
yeah.
either we're having like an amazing conversation or we are laughing hysterically. Like, I mean, laughing to the point where like my eyelashes are falling off. Like, that's how much we cut up, and it's never a dull moment. Those people you can hang out with like all day long.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of those people. And then the most entertaining person that I don't know, I would say Kiki Palmer.
She is very
I
entertaining.
absolutely love.
I love her too. She is the best. I want to know her. I feel like she's my best friend.
Yes, like I would like a celebrity. Like, who would you want to meet? I mean, yes, there's the Oprahs, there's the Issa Raes, there's the Viola Davis, but like Kiki Palmer, like,
She's, yeah. She doesn't even have to try, it seems like. She's just
oh
herself.
no, she's incredible, super talented. She
Yeah.
seems like a genuinely kind person, very down to earth, but like still about her business. Yeah, I think she's incredible. So she's the one that I would love. I think she's the most entertaining person.
Yeah, she is. And she's a jack of all trades as well. It's just everything.
Yep.
What is the best advice you can give for how to show up for an audition confidently?
Okay. I think being very present and aware. I think whenever you're forcing a persona is extremely obvious. I think the way to show up authentically as yourself is preparation. I think when you know what you're getting into, when you wake up and you feel good about it, you've done your research, you have your audition outfit prepped and ready to go. You have things like pins, you have extra pantyhose, you have, extra hair products. Like when you're prepared, I believe that is when you are able to show up as your most authentic self. I think you're able to perform at your highest level because you're not worried about things, because the day of something is gonna happen. Something's gonna come about and you're gonna wish you had an extra, you name it. I think preparation is key. That's how you're able to be calm and relaxed and really channel your full capacity as a performer, because you're not worried about all these other things that are going to come at your way. So yeah, preparation to me is key, and that can come in different forms, whether it's prep classes, research of the organization, dance classes prior to, really even the networking skills, like letting it be known exactly who you are and what you want to do and what you're able to contribute to a team. And just learning about the organization, like learning about the job that you're going into to the interview for. So
Yeah.
1,000,000% preparation. Like I tip my hat to those that just wake up and say like, oh, I just want to go and audition, and
I know.
they do what they do.
Yeah.
But it's so much at stake, and it's so much that the job requires, that I do believe investing in the preparation will only yield positive results. Whether they're favorable or not, you're going to get something out of it to help prepare you either for the season or for the next team you audition.
Really good advice. Last rapid fire. What makes you imperfect?
Oh, so many things. How much charge do I have? How many minutes do we have? You know what? I've always considered myself a wild card. And even in spaces where it's assumed that I am prepared or the sure choice or very well versed or comfortable, I'm a wild card because I I like to feel connected to anything that I do. Whether I'm on a team or I'm in a work environment or part of a project, if there's not a connection there, I have to adjust or shift until that connection comes through. And that can be a little bit of a wild card for some people and make them feel like, oh, she's a little, uncertain, or we don't really know what's going on. But I think that also allows you to figure it out. What does work? I am an agent of change. I embrace change. I embrace mixing things up. I'm not about just keeping things the same way they've always been. And so, me being okay with being a little different, a little, thinking outside the box, a little, you know, if I'm prepared, yes, I can look polished, but sometimes I'm not. Some days I'm not. Some days I'm just gonna say it like it is and figure it out along the way. I often am figuring things out. Preparation is, I think, a luxury and a gift, and I think it's something you can work towards, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna be thrown into something, you got to be quick on your feet. So, me being a wild card, me just embracing learning along the way, embracing not having all the answers, even though I'm asked a million times and people assume I have all the answers. I don't. I really don't. A lot of times I'm just going off of a gut feeling or trying it out.
Yeah.
I'm not there seeing what sticks. I'm human. I sometimes just don't feel like doing things. Some days I just don't feel like it. Like there's no grand reason. I just wake up some days and I'm like, I don't feel like being a boss today. I don't feel like being great. I want to stay right here in this bed. I'm tired. I need a release. And even though that might be imperfect to some because they feel like you have to show up and once you have a certain title, you have to be consistent. I think we need to embrace our imperfections. We need to embrace sometimes we don't have the answer. Sometimes we don't know what's going to work. Sometimes we're going to really think something's going to work and it's going to fail miserably.
Yes.
That happens. I have failed so many times at things.
Me too. Me too.
And it's okay. Like it's okay to try things and they don't work out. So what makes me imperfect is Honestly, it's the thing that I'm most okay with. That I'm a wild card. Like I'm a little unpredictable sometimes. I can't be contained. I can't be put in a box. You never know what you're going to get from day to day.
Yes.
But I embrace it. I think that's what makes me who I am.
Yes, I love that. Where can people find you and see everything that you have going on?
I am on all social media platforms, for the most part, either on Instagram and Facebook at Ana Ogbueze. My name is spelled phonetically, so if you just search Ana O-H, Ana O, you'll find me. And also at NC Dance District on all platforms. That's where you'll be able to find all the amazing things that happen through our studio and all the amazing people that are attached to it.
Wonderful. I will put those in the show notes. And I want to thank you so much, Anna, for coming on to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. This has been such a great episode, and it's one that I'm going to listen to over and over again, I'm sure, because there's so many good nuggets in here. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge and your expertise.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had an incredible time. It was wonderful. So I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Taking the time to listen while you're busy with all of life's responsibilities means the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, here are a few ways you can support ICP. Number 1, hit the subscribe button so you always get newly released episodes and never miss them. Number 2, take a screenshot of the episode you listened to and tag at the Professional Cheerleader on Instagram. We love to repost your tags and shout you out in our stories. Number 3, write a review. This is the best way to show your support for the podcast and helps us bring on even better guests, interviews, and topics. I hope you have a wonderful day, morning, or night, wherever you may be, and are continuing to work towards your goals of becoming a professional cheerleader, dancer, or just someone who loves to move. I'll see you later on another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Toodles for now.